Hi, everybody, and welcome to Round 4 of the Ray Esports Racing League, presented by RaceVoice and Racer61. After an epic outing at Mid-Ohio, this week we head south to sweet home Alabama and Birmingham's Barber Motorsports Park. One of the newest tracks in the U.S., Barber's the Alan Wilson-designed 16-turn, 2.4-mile circuit opened in 2003 and touts not only the largest motorcycle museum in the world, but perhaps for all you spider lovers out there, the biggest damn arachnid I have ever seen. With Avery McDonald joining me in the announce booth and Apex Racing TV's Dennis Branch manning the controls, I'm Greg Ginsberg, and tonight we've got two great races on tap. First up will be the Mazda MX-5s. They had the last week off, and we'll see them, and actually you can see them right on track right now. And a little later tonight, we'll see if our Spec Racer 4 drivers can repeat their epic battles from a week ago. So how you doing tonight, Avery?
Oh, fantastic. Barber Motorsports Park is a track that I don't really know very well, but I've done a couple races on.
Don't tell them that.
And I tell you one thing I like about this track is I've actually won here, Greg. So like,
so you know it very well.
Yeah, I know it well for the one time that I've led. But this is a fun track. This is a great series. Lots of different types of turns, some elevation changes. But like we've seen the last couple of weeks, Greg, every race is phenomenal, and I'm just excited for another one.
Yeah, it is going to be. Now, the last time we saw the Mazda MX-5s, they were at Sonoma Raceway 2 weeks ago, and this track, you know, it's got the elevation changes that Sonoma has, but, you know, this track, you just never stop sawing at the wheel. It's up and down and left and right. It is such a challenging track. And really, I think what we're seeing here on the Ray Esports Racing League, I almost said Super Tour there, force of habit, you'll find that, you know, these drivers are really encountering different tracks with different challenges every single time they hit the racetrack. So real quick, let's take a look and see, because again, we did have the MX-5s on track about 2 weeks ago. Let's go and first off recap and let you know where they finished up at Sonoma. Taking the win was Ryan Maloney with a fast lap time of a 1:45.971. He really had a pretty commanding win over Mitchell Peak. Almost 7 seconds separated those two drivers. Charles Bailey, who's here tonight, he took the final step on the podium. Then we had Michael Keltner, George Fike, Murphy Nichols, Cooper Lilly, John Allen, Greg Mack, and the Ray and Ray Esports Racing, Steve Ray, rounded out the top 10. But now, because they've completed 2 races in this 9-race series, and again, each class here, and we have 3 different classes in the Ray Esports Spring Tour, each class will race 6 times over 9 weeks. We're 2 weeks in for MX-5. Let's take a look and see where we stand in the points right now. Sitting at the top of the leaderboard after 2 race weekends, it's Ryan Maloney. He has 46 points. Mitchell Peak currently running second, then Charles Bailey. So, you know, looks a lot like the finishing order at Sonoma a couple weeks ago. Murphy Nichols, 4th, John Allen, 5th, Zach Burke, Greg Mack, Cooper Lilly, Steve Ray, and Michael Keltner rounding out the top 10. Now, to tell you how really just packed this field is, we have almost I think like 45 or 46 drivers that have raced in the Mazda MX-5s, and it is really close. A matter of fact, let's talk about, since we've got the points up here, to tell you how drivers get points. When you win a race here on the Ray Esports Tour, you get 25 points. Second place gets 21 points. Third place, 18, and then we go 17, 16, 15, 14, and down the line from there. If you run clean races, you can get bonus points. And so right now, Ryan Maloney, head and shoulders above the rest of the field. He's got a 4-point advantage over Mitchell Peak, and then Mitchell Peak 9 points up on third place, Charles Bailey. And then as you roll down through the field, we've got a number of drivers that are all right now tied for 30th position. So it should be some great battling here. Now you're watching qualifying. These drivers, they had an 80-minute practice session, and then we give them 15 minutes for qualifying. So we've got just about a minute left to go. And once they are finished with their qualifying session, they will throw it down for a 20-minute timed race, Avery.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a throwdown. I mean, when we saw these cars at Sonoma, anyone's game. We go to Barber Motorsports Park, anyone's game. Yeah, we see Zach Burke kind of 0.4 of a second quicker than Peak in second. But look at the intervals in between there. You got a lot of drivers there within 1/10 of a second. So it's a big, strong field. Going to be lots of battles between so many drivers, no matter what position you're racing for. And that's what this Ray Esports Series brings. It's always good racing, no matter where you are in the field. And that's what makes it fun for me to call.
Yeah, absolutely, Avery. And so sitting up at the top right now with just a couple seconds left in qualifying, we've got the two Canadians, Zach Burke and Mitchell Peak. They finished at the top of the podium during week 1 of the Ray Esports Spring League at Road Atlanta. So we'll have to see if they can get back to the top after Ryan Maloney really threw down the gauntlet at Sonoma. Kind of surprising by his absence, Avery, and we were talking about this. John Allen, the number 101 car, not out here this evening, and we were a little surprised by that. We kind of expected him to be here.
Yeah, he's pretty much, if you want to learn how to race an MX-5, just go watch John Allen drive a couple laps. You're going to learn something, even if it's just going down the straightaway, because I'm probably doing it wrong. So that's why I always like to watch him race. But a lot of these drivers here are just very talented, and we're going to miss John Allen, at least today, but we got 36 drivers that are fighting to get going here for another 20-minute race.
Exactly. And so John is currently sitting 5th in the points. Now, luckily for John, is over the 6 races. I believe that they do have the ability to drop 1 race. I'll have to go and we'll have to go back and verify that in the rules. But if that's the case, then as long as he makes it up and is out here for the last 3 weeks of racing in MX5, he'll be in good shape. So we've got a couple drivers here heading down the front straight at Barber Motorsports Park, this 16 corner course, taking the checkered flag to end qualifying. And we will, in just a few moments here, get our starting lineup.
Yeah, 35 of the 36 drivers putting down times, really close times. You see on the timing and scoring tower, just super close, which is going to put on some really good pack racing. This is a fun track. It's kind of a tough track to pass at, Greg, so we'll have to see how these drivers are going to make those changes. Yeah,
a little surprising here. The track is 45 feet wide everywhere around the track, and as we watch this final car making it around, you can kind of see where there are those tar lines essentially dividing the track into thirds, and definitely more than wide enough for probably for 4 cars to make it around in many places. But because of the nature of the track, with all of the elevation changes and with all of the twists and turns, and as you see and watch this track, you've got a number of on-camber corners, a number of off-camber corners as well. It really makes it a very difficult track to pass at. All right, so we've got our drivers starting to line up. Avery, why don't we run down the starting order?
Yeah, we got Zach Burke putting on a blistering 137.11, and 0.4 of a second slower than him is Mitchell Peak, Miles Crabb, Greg Mack, who Mack put on a really good run last week.
He did.
We'll see how he does tonight. But then Ryan Maloney, winner at Sonoma, Tyler Campbell, Murphy Nichols, Charles Bailey, Jordy Fike, and Chad Griffith running out your top 10.
All right, starting on the 5th row, we're going to have David Marcus and Michael Keltner starting 11th and 12th. Starting 13th will be Jeff Miner with Charles Vaccaro. That is in row, that would be row 6, 7, I don't know. Starting 15th today, it'll be Tom Pendergrass with Sam Tully starting right next to him in 16th, and Chris Hamilton and Steve Ray. A little surprised that he's going to be starting back in 18th, but he's had some great starts the first 2 races here in MX5. Richard Spicer will start 19th. Cooper Lilly will start in 20th. And we've got Suraj Pradham and Greg Brockway, 21st and 22nd. Andre Jameson and Bryce Evans, 23rd and 24th. Graham Lofhead, noted Formula V driver, starting 25th with Chris Spiller, 26th. Andrew Rosencroft, 27th with Mark Kruger starting right beside him. Then we've got starting 29th, Stephen Mayock with Joaquin Effinger starting 30th. Then Ray Blethen, who I know very well from SCCA Racing and iRacing as well. He'll be starting 31st, along with Derek Marcos in the number 30, who'll be starting 32nd in the 66 car. Antonio Garda and Wayne Buttermore, John Casey, and John Fustel starting in 36th. Then we'll have to see, because Fustel is the only driver that did not put down a lap time in qualifying. So we'll see if he indeed makes the grid. This race, of course, is brought to you by Driver61. You can find out more information about them at driver61.com, but offer great coaching services, primarily around sim racing, but for real life racing as well. Definitely, again, go check them out at driver61.com. We're happy to have them aboard. And so we've got the pace lap underway here, Avery.
Yeah, fun little track here, Barber Motorsports Park. We got a kind of a longer pace lap, so the drivers are able to kind of sit in, tug them belts, simulated belts one more time, and kind of remember, oh, this is where the track is. They're going to see on this straightaway coming here. We got a nice after this left-hander. Is probably my favorite part of the track coming up, Greg. Just pretty much kind of close your eyes and go through. It's like a dip kind of.
Yes.
Turn,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. This is the corkscrew here at Barber, and it's not necessarily blind, and it's a little. It's a little probably more challenging during the pace lap than during a race, because most of the drivers just kind of straight line it as they head down the hill, but you can see all the elevation changes here as these drivers try to get some heat in the tires and heat in their brakes. Now, we mentioned before about the point system, but what we should also mention here as these drivers go out on course is that, and given how many cars we saw drive off into the grass during qualifying, it should be good to note that each one of the drivers, they do have one fast repair in their toolbox there. If they go off, obviously in this very short 20-minute race, it's probably going to be the kiss of death for them, but they do have that. If they have 12 incident points that they accumulate over the course of the race, they will get a drive-through penalty, and if they accumulate 20 incident points, that will result in a disqualification. So I'm sure these drivers, as they go off and with this very large 30-some car field, again, there's pretty wide track here. They're going to want to give cars a wide berth, but it's definitely something that they have to look after as we're following them down here. Our drivers come onto the front straight, ready to take the green flag, and the green flag is in the air with Zach Peak taking the point. We've got Mitchell Peak, who had Miles Crabb right beside him there for a moment. Crabb now moving up into second as they come through turns 3 and 4 through the carousel area and now make their way down the hill. And you can see these very, very big changes in elevation, Avery, as they now make their way as quickly as they went down, as they come back up the hill and down towards a very long run over towards turn 5, the hairpin here at Barber.
Yeah, Burke able to get a really good start, just under a second gap, and the driver who kind of had a little bit of struggle there was Peak going through that carousel and just kind of lost a little traction. But you see, it's pretty much single file all the way through with a couple cars that are side by side, and this is when you just kind of get settled in to start clicking off some good laps and try to make some moves. Now is the time to make as many positions as you can. Now this is also one of my favorite parts of the track here, Greg.
Yeah, they come as quickly as they go down the hill through the corkscrew. They come back up through the S's and start to climb up, and then make the run on the straightaway over towards turn 12. You have a very quick left-hander, and then the right-hander that they call the tunnel turn. That is turn 13 as they go downhill. Oh, and a little bit loose here as they come over that blind corner. We see the number 25 lose it just a little bit, and it looked like I think Charles Bailey in the 63 car had gotten loose, lost a little momentum making their way through, as well as they come through turn 16, the final turn here onto the front straight at Barber to complete lap number 1. Your leader, Zach Burke, in the number 13 car with Miles Crabb second, Mitchell Peak dropping back into third, Ryan Maloney fourth, Greg Mack rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, David Marcus in that strawberry flavored Pop-Tart car really got nice little save. Got kind of unlucky there, but able to keep the car going. He's still sitting in 11th place. I'm more of a brown cinnamon sugar guy, but that car looks pretty sweet.
Well, and I usually run with the Oreo cookie. I thought Dennis was giving me some hints here, because I normally run the blue and white Oreo cookie livery, and that Pop-Tart car pretty darn close. All right, as you can see here, the number 25 car, he is out of line, but most of these drivers, as we said, it's kind of a one-lane track, even as wide as it is, because if you're not on the traditional line here, you can, because of all the twists and turns, you can really get out of sorts. And speaking of out of sorts there, that is the 281 car. Jeff Miner looked like he had some contact over, and that is over by the corkscrew, about on the exit of the corkscrew, over by turn 9, and he just now gets back underway. Let's see if we can get a replay. All right, well, we're not going to get a replay there. Let's go back to the action.
Yeah, it looks like Miner just was going through that corkscrew and just he just hit the curbing a little bit too much and able to slide away from him and just get back going. Stevie Ray goes off. That is the Ray and Ray eSports Racing.
Yeah, and Steve Ray, as he goes off, that is over by turn 16, the very last turn before you come onto the front straight, and he gets caught out, and looks like he's going to continue on. Doesn't look like there's enough damage there to warrant a run down the pit lane. These MX-5 cars are actually, as somebody who races a Honda in real life, and I can swear that a Coke can is stronger than a Honda, at least a late 80s, early 90s Honda CRX. Oh, a little bumping and banging there between the 25 and the 12 as they get together, going through. Looks like going through the hairpin over by turn 6. Maybe they're busy looking at that big spider coming through there. But there we go, is Michael Keltner and the 25 car getting together, having a little bit of issues there. And Wayne Buttermore, the 73, off as well. So lots of drivers having some challenges here at Barber, Avery.
Yeah, it's a tough track. I mean, yeah, like we said earlier, it is wide, but it's kind of a one-lane track, which means if you make a mistake, you're gonna have somebody coming up on you. And there's just, if you take a look at the track map on the top right of your screen, it's just pack, and then another pack. It's just that's what I love about this eSports Racing series. It's always pack racing. These drivers are always just going for it. As you see Nichols right there with Fike and Charles Bailey right behind them, and right behind them are some more cars, Greg.
Yeah, it never ends here. That as you mentioned, we have the I believe the top 6 cars have a bit of a breakaway, and then it is nothing but a line of cars, about a 15-car conga line, as they now make their way over through turns 2 and 3, the carousel here at Barber, and then make their way down. And as quickly as they go down, they head back up the hill and start making their way over towards the hairpin.
Yeah, see Bailey kind of going a little bit off track there. Fike was trying to find a way around. Nichols wasn't able to quite make a move, no. But let him know he's there and says, hey, next time I might get a little bit closer and get around you. It's just, sometimes you got to put a little warning pass in there.
Yeah, and you can tell he keeps showing the nose. And let's see, does he pop to the inside? No, he holds off. So Jordy Fike still sits in line there as the 25 car, who's having lots of issues tonight. He gets into the back of the 63. That's Charles Bailey. And so Bailey and Marcus, a little argy-bargy going through there. I think what you're running into is some of these drivers are trying to pick up the course, Avery. It's kind of hard as that trailing car to really determine what the breaking points are going to be for a lot of these drivers. This course is, you find because of the elevation and a lot of these corners where you're entering uphill, that you get on the brakes maybe a little bit later than you would expect. And if you don't have the time here, what can happen is you may find the driver right behind you just kind of getting caught out because he doesn't expect you to get on the brakes so darn early.
Yeah, definitely. You really need to just kind of, oh man, that was some moves by that 63. That was Charles Bailey just really get a little losing a little traction there, but able to hang on to it.
All right, as they now make their way down through, as they come through the carousel, make their way back up and head towards the hairpin. And again, we'll see as they come down. They've got the big gravel trap on the outside, and we don't see it from this camera, but there is a big spider sitting right on the outside of the gravel trap that all these drivers can see as they come through. And all right, so let's take a look here. It is the 09 car of Fike, and then Murphy Nichols. Nichols was looking to the inside, could not get it done there, but you can see now is Nichols, where he was leading that pack, he's now the second car in line, but really a big stack up, almost 10 cars, well, more than 10 cars, actually about 15 cars deep as they make their way around here, as we are now just about 8 minutes into this 20-minute timed race, so a little bit under halfway.
Yeah, and Burke's out in front by pretty much that same gap. Oh.
There we go again. This is getting fun watching the number 25 of Marcus, because he is just straight line and stuff, and thankfully he's not. As he straight lines it, looks like Murphy Nichols goes wide there over by that is coming through turn 15, and now we're going to see the 25 car try to get around Murphy Nichols, making a run down the front straight here as it then drops down into turn 1. And for all of Marcus's off-road shenanigans here, it looks like he gets past Murphy Nichols and sitting right by them, Charles Bailey, and is working his way around Pendergrass. Tom Pendergrass in the number 12 car, also trying to find a way now around Murphy Nichols. So, you know, I'm a little surprised here that as often as we've seen the 25 of Marcus go off track, it doesn't seem to affect his pace all that much.
Yeah, back up front with Burke, and he's put on a clinic so far, Greg. It's been pretty much that same gap in between him and Miles Crabb, in about a second gap. Their quick times are relatively the same.
They're running very similar lap times there. That last time by 5 thousandths of a second separating. We have a car off in the gravel trap. That is, I believe, Spicer in the number 30 car. He's going to drop back, Richard Spicer, and we'll see if he can get that car out of the gravel trap, or he may end up having to use that quick repair.
He had to use that tow. Tow truck came and saved him.
Here we go. All right. Yeah, I was, as I've been kind of, joking about Marcus and his off-road shenanigans. It reminds me of my rookie year. I had a race at the time what was known as Beaver Run, what is now Pit Race, and I had another driver in a CRX. He went off 7 times in the race, and he still beat me, which to this day is, just tells me how god-awful slow I was at that course. Of course, there were some external factors there as well, and he had a lot more seat time there, but I think that was like 2003, 2004. It was many, many years ago. But when he passed me on the very last lap after I had passed him 7 times, that was the end for me. And I'll bet you, as the guys are sitting right back behind Marcus right now, as Murphy Nichols and Tom Pendergrass and also Chad Griffith, the number 826 car there, the Martini liveried car, are sitting back behind, looking and licking their lips for Pop-Tarts. Bet you they're looking for a way by that 25.
Yeah, Miles just up in third, just got passed by Mitchell Peak not too long ago. Really good move by those drivers. Like I kind of said earlier in this broadcast, Greg, just timing. Not timing, scoring the track map. Pack, big pack, a little pack. It's just that's what you get these cars on any track with a lot of talent here, which is so much fun to see. It. I look forward to this race every Tuesday night, and I'm sure you do too.
Absolutely. All right, so let's jump, and we're taking a look right now. We've got Tyler Campbell in the 37 car, and then I believe Greg Mack just ahead. They are side by side as they go down into turn number 1. I'm hoping we can jump up and get over to them, because that is a great battle going on right now for 5th. And it looks like that may have played out, but it was interesting that for the first couple laps of the race, we had that 5-car breakaway, and Campbell has fallen back into the clutches of Greg Mack, and it is a 2-car battle right now for 5th, with the top 4 cars having broken away. And here we go, side by side, coming down the hill. We've got Murphy Nichols and Tom Pendergrass side by side, the Martini livered car of Pendergrass. It looked as though he was just waiting for a moment to make the move on Nichols. Nichols, though, now set up as they come in. He's got position as they now head in over towards the, I believe that is over by the tunnel turn. Oh, actually, no, that's on the backside of the course, pardon me. That is over by the corkscrew as they now make their way up the hill, up through the uphill S's now. And Murphy Nichols gives up another position, so Chad Griffith gets ahead of him. And it is now Tom Pendergrass sitting at as 10th in 10th position with Chad Griffith and Murphy Nichols. And Nichols now goes wide, manages to regain position in that Smokehouse Brewery car, and making up a ton of ground now, the number 16 of Chris Hamilton. And Hamilton smelling blood here as they make their way through turn 16 out onto the front straight, but not a strong lap, not a lap that Murphy Nichols is going to want to repeat as we continue on now with just under 7 minutes left to go in this 20-minute race.
Yeah, Murphy definitely kept his foot in it and made sure he was able to use as much of the track as he could while you could keep the gas in. So it could have been a lot worse for him, but he was able to kind of regain.
And look at this now, Michael Keltner sitting 13th. He now gets ahead of Murphy Nichols, so move Nichols back to 14th, and now Nichols continuing to drop off as cars just seem to have a little bit more pace. Charles Vaccaro gets by him, Cooper Lilly gets by him, Serge Prodom now passes Murphy Nichols as well. So Nichols, who started off, I believe, 7th, he is now sitting back in 17th position. So he has had nothing but issues here on this particular lap.
Yeah, you just saw Miles Crabb just get by Mitchell Peak there. These two have been battling side by side for, well, seems to be the last couple laps, and just over 5.5 minutes to go. Don't expect this battle to end anytime soon. See Peak there.
Ooh,
trying to hold off Crabb.
Yeah, side by side there as we had those two cars go into the corner side by side.
Man. Wow. That's all I got to say is wow. Man, that's just the talent level of these drivers is insane.
Yeah, great side-by-side action here as they make their way through. You know, we said it's a one-lane course, but some of these drivers, you got to go side-by-side at some point if you're going to make a pass here as they make their way through.
Yeah, track's wide enough where you can go side-by-side or 3 wide. Or, you know what? Let's see 4 wide. That'd be pretty cool. Nah, I mean, I don't think that's asking for too much there, Greg. I mean, it's a 3-car battle, so yeah, I guess I'd probably ask him. But we'll see.
All right.
There's the 4-car battle we're looking for.
Yep, there it is. As they come through, popping over the curbs, and you'll see here that the curbing here, as these drivers try to straighten out some of these corners, that you can kiss the corners. This is an FIA grade 2 track, and if you just kiss the outside, you're fine. The MX-5s, but though we're seeing here is they'll go all the way and use as much of that curbing as possible, and it really tosses these cars in the air. I don't think we're going to see the Spec Racer Fords taking that same approach in our next race.
Yeah, if you like what you see now, make sure you tune in to that Spec Racer Ford race that starts about 10 minutes after. There's some special paint schemes that are in there. I'm really looking forward to see on some cars. I'm not gonna get too much into them, but I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mean, all the cars look great, Greg. It's a couple extra special ones in for today.
All right, so we're watching the battle right now. This is the battle between Charles Bailey and David Marcus as they make their way through the 63 and the 25 car. They are nose to tail. That is the battle for 8th position as they had to as they make their way through with just about 3 minutes left to go.
Yeah, Bailey and Marcus, they're just really put in the effort. Let's kind of take a look at their last times. I see on the timing and scoring, they're pretty much identical. So, which is kind of, you know, which is how this series goes. That other car you're battling with, it's pretty much relatively reasonable. Same skill level, Bailey and Marcus. Bailey started 8th, still in 8th. Marcus is up 2 spots. Biggest mover of the day so far is your boy Raymond in that 51.
Yeah.
Greg.
You know, I'll tell you, he wheels a mean TDI Cup Jetta in iRacing. Of course, he has tons and tons of front-wheel drive experience. He drove for years in club racing and ITB. Get this, an Audi coupe, all 5 cylinders of massive power from that Audi, and up in the Northeast. And the last couple of years, he's been tossing around Mazda RX-8s. So he knows the front wheel drive, he knows the rear wheel drive, and oh, here we go.
Christopher Hamilton just really using up that car as much as he can. Gonna try to get by the 69 of Cooper Lilly, and that's kind of how these cars are. You just got to drive it. Whether you're a little bit out of control, it's fast. So Hamilton just kind of trying to find a way to get around Lilly. Back to Bailey and Marcus. Marcus going to make a strong defense if he can on Bailey, but Charles is able to get around him.
Yep. Now let's see here, and yeah, we'll have to see. He's sitting, you know, as most of this field seems to be, right on the bumper of the car ahead. And so real good tight battle here as we jump back to our leaders with Peak and Burke up at the top of the field with Miles Crabb, who had that great start. He got around Mitchell Peak going into turn 1 at the drop of the green flag. He is now back in 3rd place. We've got the 2 Canadians sitting up at the front of the field, but it is a tight battle for who's going to get the second stop, probably the second step on the podium between Mitchell Peak and Miles Crabb.
Yeah, Peak and Crabb been going back and forth, and that allows Maloney to kind of get up. Maloney, your winner a couple weeks ago at Sonoma, may not have a chance to repeat, but he's getting
closer. All right, so our leaders now are working the very last lap. Zach Burke crossed the start-finish line with only about 6 seconds left to go on that 20-minute clock. So the white flag is now in the air, and they are on the very last lap as we've got Peak and Crabb now almost side by side as they come through and heading through the carousel and start to make their way down over towards the corkscrew. Pardon me, not through the carousel. They came through the hairpin over by Charlotte's Web and going into the corkscrew now. And we'll have to see how things are going to play out. This kind of reminds me a little bit of that finish that we had at Road Atlanta on week 1. Of course, that was a 4-car battle for the win on the very last lap. It looks like right now, Zach Burke is pretty much cemented. As long as he can keep that car on track for just about 3 more turns, he's going to really have things cemented here. But Peak and Crabb and Ryan Maloney really going at it for those last 2 steps on the podium, Avery.
Yeah, Peak and Crabb have been pretty much battling all race, and Maloney's finally there. Just one more corner to go. We'll see if they're going to be able to make a move. But coming out of the final corner, Zach Burke's going to win this race in dominating fashion.
And there we go, crossing the stripe. The checkered flag is out, and your winner today is Zach Burke. Mitchell Peak will hold off Miles Crabb and finish in 2nd. Crabb, last step on the podium, he finishes in 3rd. Ryan Maloney now, he crosses the stripe, will finish 4th. Tyler Campbell finishes 5th. Greg Mack finishes 6th. Jordy Fike, David Marcus, Charles Bailey and Chad Griffith round out the top 10.
Another fabulous race here for that Driver61 eSports Racing Mazda MX-5 series. Just a couple more drivers, or well, about half the field finishing up. But yeah, what a great race, Greg. And these guys never disappoint.
No, not at all. Great battle with these drivers, and we'll have them in just a moment here for our have them in some interviews. We'll try and get a hold of hopefully Zach Burke and Mitchell Peak and see if we can drag them in.
Yeah, keep in mind if you in this race and watching it later, make sure you join the Apex Discord for go to the interview waiting area for your top 3. But just keep that in mind. But if some of these drivers might be getting in that other session, but we'll see if anybody jumps in.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We do have that other, and there we go. We've got Mitchell Peak. Let's pull them in. Let's talk to Mitchell first, and then we'll go over to our winner, Zach Burke. Avery, you want to pick up the interview?
Hey, Mitchell, congratulations on a second place finish. How was that race from your point of view?
Hey, thanks very much. Yeah, tonight was a stressful race for me. Right before the session started, my computer was crashing. I couldn't load iRacing, so I was freaking out. But everything seemed to work out, and qualifying up on the front row was all right. And then we had a crazy battle. Miles and I were back and forth for about 6 laps there at the end of the race. So great fun tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your computer had some crashing issues, but you had no crashing problems during this race. But Barber kind of just makes it a little bit more of a difficult track because there's a lot of different changes in the elevation and the turns. May not have had anything for Zach, but you and Miles just went side by side. But how were you able to best him in those final couple laps?
Well, you're definitely right about Zach. He's a good few tenths ahead, especially on this track. Barber's a really tough track. It's got a lot of flow to it, and if you get off the line of the flow, then you're in for some real trouble. So, yeah, Miles and I, my plan at the start was to try to stay ahead of him, and then he got me at the start. So I was thinking, should I be patient? Should I go for it? So about halfway through the race, I decided I'd start fighting him for it, and when I got the move done the first time, I think it took 3 turns before I could actually get around him. And I was like, okay, it seems like the fight is on now. So then it was just a little bit of cat and mouse back and forth. We each made a couple of small mistakes that let the other guy have a shot at getting in there. So, yeah, just unfortunate to come out with P2. Great battle with Miles. Congratulations to Zach. And just really happy to be part of this series. Big shout out to Stevie Ray for setting this all up for everybody. And shout out to Apex Racing for putting on a great show as always.
Yeah, when you got a great show like you guys, it makes it easy for us to call it. Congratulations, Mitchell, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, Avery, let's see if we can drag in our winner, Zach Burke.
And Zach currently isn't here, but we got Miles here.
Yeah, we got Miles. We'll bring Miles in. Zach was around for a few minutes there. I think he probably went to jump in his Spec Racer Ford. So let's talk to Miles Crabb. Miles, thanks for joining us. Great run today, and you had a great start. Got around Mitchell Peak on the very first lap. Held him off for about a couple laps there. And why don't you tell us about your strategy and how things went?
Strategy was, original strategy was qualify on pole. That didn't happen. I got the second best spot, which is third, because when the leader goes in the middle of 17, I can follow them. And Zach did exactly what I thought, and I was able to get by Mitchell, like you said, going down the front stretch. And I was able to keep pace with Zach for like the first 4 or 5 laps. Kind of all ran together. Mm-hmm. And I started just making little mistakes. I'm using H pattern in the clutch and not heel toe because the Miata's weird, but a couple times I didn't get second gear in the in Charlotte's Web. So
hey, it's like driving a real Miata.
Yeah, right. So it pushed wide a little bit, didn't turn in like I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I fought that for a little bit, and then Mitchell got by me. I don't know what they're doing, but when I shift, I'll lose 1 mile an hour to them. So I need to learn the Miata more. I need to quit driving the Cadillac and learn how to drive the Miata. But this is my home track, so at least I had home field advantage, which helped, which is probably why I finished third. And I really had low expectations when I loaded in to start the race. And the car in front of me had the same paint scheme as the car to the, second place and fourth place with the same paint scheme as them. I was like, oh, this ain't gonna be good.
You were surrounded. All right. Well, Miles, you have anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Sim racing side of things, I'm running with Mad Sim Racing. We just had a member join the SCCA, so I'm going to try and get him in here so I can have a teammate to play with. But my mom and dad are watching, so hi mom, hi dad. I just got a text saying that y'all said something nice about me on about lap 10. So
Yeah, hi mom, hi dad.
But that's about it. Mad Sim Racing, and go have fun in the Spec Racer Ford. This is going to be like driving with one arm asleep. So
there you go. All right, Miles Crabb finishes third tonight in Mazda MX-5. Next up is going to be our Spec Racer Fords presented by RaceVoice, and we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to get ready for that, and we'll be back with you in just a few moments.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
All right, and we are back here for the Ray Esports Racing League, the Spring Tour. I'm Greg Ginsburg, joined by Avery McDonald, and definitely want to thank Dennis Branch from Apex Racing TV, who's bringing you all these great views here this evening. We've got on track right now our Spec Racer Fords. They are out for their 15-minute qualifying session, and they're about 7 minutes, so just about halfway through that 15-minute qualifying session. But I want to talk real quickly about the third class that we have here for the Ray Esports League, and that is Pro Mazda. They're not racing tonight. We'll see them next week when we head to Road America, but they were racing with us just a week ago at Mid-Ohio, and I want to we'll run down and let you know where the points are and let you know who's sitting atop the leaderboard in Pro Mazda after 2 race weekends. Sitting in the lead right now is Evan Rackison with 25 points. Dylan Christie currently running second with 22 points. Tied for third right now, Caleb Patry and Zach Burke. So we just talked with Zach a few moments ago after his great run in Mazda MX-5. He's been doing really well in the Pro Mazda Formula cars as well. Dan Satilli 5th, David Schwartz 6th. Then we've got Tyler Campbell and Andrew Abbott tied for 7th place. Then a tie for 9th, and that is Chad Griffith and Brandon Abbott. So sorry, Kareem Hussein, that puts you just outside of the top 10 with all those ties. He is 11th right now in the points. And so, as we mentioned, we've got our Spec Racer Fords on track. They are now getting ready for, I believe this will be their 3rd race of the series. Again, 6 race weekends for each one of our classes. Taking the win last week at Mid-Ohio, Caleb Patry, who is currently your provisional pole sitter, not going to, hopefully not jinx him right now, in the number 198 car. And by the way, Caleb took the win at Mid-Ohio by, and get this, margin of victory, 17 thousandths of a second. Zach Burke finished second. Stevie Ray was the last step on the podium at Mid-Ohio. He finished third. Miles Krebs, Chad Griffith rounded out the top 5. So let's go and we'll take a look at the point standings after 2 weeks. And Caleb Patry, who took the win at the first weekend at Road Atlanta, he is sitting atop the leaderboard. He has actually, let's take a look here. He has, I believe, 25 points. Actually, that doesn't sound right because I think that what I have here is actually after just one race weekend. But currently, right now, Caleb Patry is sitting atop the leaderboard with Steve Ray, Greg Mack, David Schwartz, Jeff Miner, Chad Griffith, Sam Tully, Bryce Evans, Kareem Hussein, and Michael Inocencio. Now, here's the thing. I told you that that Caleb Patry, Avery, took the win last week by a margin of 17 thousandths of a second. Well, over the course of his 2 wins, what separated him from second place over 2 weeks? 221, I guess that's 100 thousandths, but 22 hundredths of a second separated Caleb Patry from the rest of the field. So if that is not close racing in Spec Racer Ford, I don't know what is. And we're going to have some, I would suspect, some great battles here this evening at Barber as well.
Yeah, these cars, definitely with this series and a couple other series that Stevie holds, always has close racing with the Spec Racer Ford. You know, it's not maybe one of the more popular cars in iRacing, but these, I mean, after watching these drivers race pretty much every week, I want to race this car more. That's how fun these races are. Side-by-side action, a little bit of contact doesn't ruin the car.
Well, no, what doesn't ruin the car is the contact, but take a look at that livery, Avery. That is Andrew Benna in the number 71 car.
That's a guy I know.
Yeah, he's not driving a Spec Racer Ford. Take a look at that, the number 71 car. He's driving the Spec Racer Greg. That is me sitting on all 4 sides of that car with my cheesehead hat from the June sprints at Road America a number of years ago. Thank you, Andrew. And probably the best thing that he could have done was put that car into the wall and smash my face up. Because I've got a face for radio. I definitely don't have a face for TV, and so I want to thank Andrew. And I think there are a couple different drivers that may be running that livery tonight from the SCCA Foundation iRacing group that have been running here and doing very well.
Yeah, I thought I recognized that guy on there.
There
I was
you
watching
go.
practice. I'm like, that's got to be that's got to be Greg. You know.
There you go.
Wow, that's so cool. I didn't even know they were going to do that till now.
Yeah,
so that's so cool.
Yeah, that is freaking amazing. So I want to thank Andrew who put that design up on Trading Paints for a lot of the drivers to run. And yeah, and so it actually says on the side of the car, not SRF for Spec Racer Ford. It says SRG for Spec Racer Greg. Pretty darn cool. But you know, you were saying how you want to get into this. I know that
I want that paint scheme.
Yeah, doesn't everybody? That Stevie Ray, of course, has a league that he runs. I keep thinking Wounded Warrior. Yeah, they see there's another one. The number 24 car, Sam Tully, also running that livery. So I am going to be probably at all 4 corners of the track here today. But Steve Ray, of course, has a great league that he organizes that is nothing but Spec Racer Fords. And I'll tell you, in club racing, I've seen some of the biggest fields. I was at a race a number of years ago, actually back in 2017, a championship race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and they had 99 Spec Racer Ford drivers there for the national championship. They actually had to run like a last chance race because of the sheer number of cars they had. They were only allowed to have 62 cars on track at once, and so you had to fight your way in. The top 50 got into the championship race automatically, and then the bottom 50 raced it out, and the top 12 in that last chance race got to the main event. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing watching all those cars head down into turn one. I actually got to watch it from the very top, the roof of the roof of the pagoda at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it was just one heck of an experience to watch. And you know, tons and tons of these cars have been raced over the years, whether, you know, having started out with Renault engines in them in the late 80s, early 90s, and then the what we see here in this group. Oh, look, there I am again. Oh, and isn't that perfect? That's Jamison Huffman. His father runs a Formula Enterprises 2 car in club racing. But there went and did a nice 4-wheel drift for the camera, so everybody could see my face once again. But you know, as these cars have gone up, now what we see here, Avery, in iRacing are what they call the Gen 2 cars that have the 1.9 liter Ford motors in them. We've gone past that because these are the engines from the Ford Escorts of the 80s and early 90s, and so, you know, it's impossible to get these motors anymore. So Ford actually updated, working with the race organization that fields these cars, to actually update them so that they use the newer 1.6 liter motors from the Ford Focus. Which also now, you know, I'm sure the engines will be around for quite a while, but of course the Focus is not available any longer. But, you know, it just promotes such close racing. You know, the chassis have not changed much. They all run spec tires, and there is very little adjustment that you can do to these cars, both in real life and here in iRacing. So you always have very close racing.
Yeah, very close racing. Like you said earlier, that SRF Weekend Warriors series, you know what's great about that series? It's live here on Apex, and that's at 2 Central on Sundays, 3 Eastern. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, so you see a lot of these drivers back out here on Sunday afternoons. You get a notification that they're on. So that's pretty cool. You know, Stevie's got us got Apex covering both of his some of his series they puts together, and so I mean, it's fun to watch. I watch it almost every week. It's that fun.
There you go. All right, and we're watching, of course, the checkered flag is out now. Flying laps will count. I don't know if Ray Blethen, I always get it mixed up. Of course, we talked about Ray driving his Audis earlier, actually raced with his twin brother, Steve Blethen, all the way up until just a couple years ago. And they both raced the Audis, and then when they got into touring car racing, they started to race those Mazda RX-8s as well. And he's got the same livery on that car as he does on his RX-8 in real life. But most of the cars now have crossed the stripe. We're going to see them get gridded up here in just a moment, and not a ton of surprises up at the top of the field this week, Avery.
No. Not really.
Nope, there you go. So, you know, we'll run down the order here in just a second, but it looks like Caleb Patry, who's taken the win both weeks here previously. He's going to start on the inside of the front row. We've got the 2 Canadians who we just watched in Mazda MX-5s. They're going to be starting second and third. And there we go, Stevie Ray, Weekend Warrior Steve, is going to be starting on the outside of the second row. But we'll run down that starting grid here in just a few moments as our last cars make their way around. We're watching the number 12 car. We're watching Spec Racer Greg here. Sean Foes, another one of those SCCA Foundation drivers, making his way around. I think they're what, I'm in like quadruplicate around the track here. You know, was it Miles who was talking about how scary it was when he popped onto the grid and saw those identical livery cars? Well, what happens if you see my face staring back at you? When you get on the grid?
Like, I gotta get out of the way. I don't want Greg to come into me.
There you go. All right, so let's go. We'll run down the starting grid here, Avery.
Yeah, you got Caleb Patry starting on that pole for the Midwest Club, just a 2/10 quicker than Zach Burke, who saw have a pretty good race just a couple of moments ago in the MX-5. We'll see how he transfers over to the Spec Racer Ford. And Miles Crabb, who had another great run. Stevie Ray, who unfortunately had the meatball flag in the last race, so he's hoping for a little better luck there. Chad Griffith, Jamison Huffman, Justin Cloutier, Greg Mack, another good starting effort. He had a really good run last week. And Justin Huffman and Jeff Miner, your top 10.
All right, and Justin Huffman, by the way, father of Jamison. All right, then starting 11th, we have Sam Tully with Andrew Benna, I believe in the very first of the Spec Racer Gregs. Starting 13th will be Bryce Evans and Tom Pendergrass. Starting 15th, Ray Blethen and Andrew Wozencroft. And then we've got Corey Hunter and Chris Hamilton, 17th and 18th. Charles Vaccaro and Wayne Buttermore rounding out the top 20. And I believe we have 25 cars that went out for qualifying. Starting 21st is going to be Joaquin Effinger. We saw him during the previous race. Sean Foes, also in a Spec Racer Greg. He's going to be starting 22nd. Then we've got Todd Martin and John Casey, 23rd and 24th. And we'll see if Murphy Nichols took to the grid. He indeed did. Murphy Nichols, of course, had that very challenging race in MX5. He's going to go at it here in Spec Racer Ford. It looks like Chris Hamilton did not make the grid. So we'll see if he's going to start from the pit lane or not. But he was originally scheduled, I believe, to start 18th. And not showing him on track currently, as Caleb Patry, the number 198 machine, leading the field around. And we're going to be going green flag racing here in just a few moments, as we have the drivers now coming and making their way. Looks like they're making their way up through the S's. And going to make their way over towards turns 12 and 13. So going to be just a few moments as these drivers try to get some heat in the tires. You can see Caleb Patry, the number 198 machine, moving that car from side to side. A couple other drivers thinking that that's the best course of action. Now, Avery, we mentioned here the curbing at Barber, and I think turn 1 is one of the only ones that they're going to probably want to go and take the entire apex curbing in these Spec Racer Fords. I'll have to see how the rest of the field does, but again, very low at right at the edge of the track surface, but it ramps up very, very quickly. We saw those Mazda MX-5s getting tossed around all over the place as the pace car heads down through into the pit lane over at turn 15, and the field now comes around through turn 16 onto the front straight and ready for the green flag. And we are green as our Spec Racer Fords now start to make their way down towards turn 1. Side by side, we've got Zach Burke and Caleb Patry. Patry with position as they roll down the hill of a slight brush of the brake, and as quickly as they head down, they head back up. Zach Burke trying to sneak underneath. Patry cannot get it done, though, as they make their way down through the carousel and start to head back up the hill towards turn number 4. A little bit further back, we've got Steve Ray and Miles Crabb, Jamison Huffman, Justin Clardy, Greg Mack, Chad Griffith, Miles Crabb, and Stevie Ray still side by side as they're trying to battle it out here, see who's going to sit in third place as they now make their way up the hill. And it looks now like Miles Crabb has cemented that third place. But Stevie Ray, all the way to the inside, he's not ready to give up the ghost yet, as the rest of the field now gets in line. And now Stevie Ray gets around Miles Crabb. He takes over third place as they now come down the hill and through the corkscrew, and now making their way up through the S's, Avery. And it looks like we had somebody who went around.
Looks like that was Thomas Pendergrass that went around there. But yeah, a lot of side-by-side action. Patry and Burke have kind of, have a little bit of a second gap. Patry got through that corkscrew really nice. Then it's back to Ray, Miles Crabb, and then we got Justin Cloutier, Jamison Huffman, Greg Mack. There's that Spec Racer Greg.
Trying to make his way through the field. Oh yeah, don't dent up that body panel, and it's actually fiberglass in a Spec Racer Ford. Don't crash it up. But here we go, still side by side, coming onto the front straight to end lap number 1. It's Miles Crabb and Stevie Ray, and you can see and another car looks like he gets a little wide. That is, I believe, the 311 car. Bryce Evans gets loose on the final corner, and now Stevie Ray going wide, coming through turn 1. He's going to lose a number of positions. Stevie Ray now dropping back to 6th after having been 3rd just a couple corners ago, and that moves Miles Crabb in the maroon number 31 up into 3rd place. Jamison Huffman in the number 89 car, though, he is hanging tight in 4th. I was going to say that all that side-by-side battling, Avery, between Crabb and Stevie Ray really allowed our top 2 drivers, Caleb Patry and Zach Burke, to kind of sneak away from the rest of the field. And Stevie Ray looks like he's parking the car. His day, I believe, is now going to be done.
Yeah, not the best day for Stevie Ray, but who's having a good day? That's Patrick and Burke out. Well, Patrick's got a second lead, but right now the battle is between the Spec Racer Greg, number 89 of Jameson Huffman, and the 826 and the Spec Racer Ford of Chad Griffith. So yeah, at least they're making your face look good on up in the top 10.
Absolutely. Face of a winner there, making his way through the field. And I think Jameson, I'll have to check. I think Jameson's only 15 years old. Again, his father, Justin Huffman, races a Formula Enterprise 2 in club racing. I've seen him a number of times at the SCCA runoffs in that car, putting in very strong finishes out of the Washington, D.C. region. Here, another one. Oh, the number 24 car. He's all kinds of folded up there. With a lot of damage. That is Sam Tully. He is not doing me proud. He's got my little mug there all folded up as they come through turn 16 onto the front straight as he tries to fight his way through. Looks like he might have gotten into the back of Justin Huffman in the 223 car just ahead of him.
Yeah, it might be a three number curse. Might be for those drivers, but you know, still early, 3.5 minutes or almost 4 minutes down to this 20-minute race. These cars don't disappoint, Greg. Never. I mean, this series doesn't, but these Spec Racer Ford, these drivers. I mean, you get some of these cars like this. You get like the Skip Barber. Always some great racing. As you see the 89 go wide, that's going to allow Chad Griffith to try to make a good pass.
Yeah, that was Jameson Huffman going wide at the hairpin turn 5. The hairpin, a double apex turn here at Barber. That the first apex, you basically want to come in almost from the center of the track, and then going around the 89 car, Jameson Huffman, he spins out, backs the car off the track. We'll see if he loses any positions. Yeah, he's going to lose a lot of ground here as he now is sitting back down in 12th and falling quickly just now. Gets that car back underway. So Huffman, he was as high as 5th position. He is now sitting back in 9th, just hanging on to the top 10, just ahead of the 311 of Bryce Huffman and Bryce Evans and his father, Justin Huffman.
Yeah, but out front, it's Caleb Patry. The gap has shrunk, though. It was around a second about a lap ago, and Zach Burke, who won first race today, is trying to make it a back-to-back win here at Barber, and he's 1:39.1 with a quick time. That's 0.6 of a second quicker than, or about 0.6 of quicker than Patrick's fastest lap, which he just ran that time.
Yeah, and as we follow these drivers through now, as they go through the carousel, through turns 2 and 3, back up the hill. Here through turn 4, where it rises up again and then it drops very quickly down as they head down towards that hairpin. Hey, there's that spider as they come through again. Double apex turn there and make their way through. I was going to say Zach Burke definitely back in the draft as he follows our leader Caleb Patry now heading down over towards the corkscrew, turns 7 and 8. There you go, a late break, very late break, and then they try and straight line this over the curbing and then down, and then a little bit of a slip there from Zach Burke. He loses some ground on exit there as the front of the car got very, very loose for a second, and he's now about a car length and a half, 2 car lengths off. Well, again, we'll have to see if he can make it back up in the draft, as he's only about 0.4 off. That's still in the draft.
Yeah, Burke in striking distance of Patry when second, 1 lap into this race, he's a second gap, and it's already gone down to a 0.5 second. Keep in mind on the timing and scoring, when a green number comes out from the right side of the timing tower, that's the personal best lap for the race. And if it comes out purple, that's the best lap overall out of everybody. So you can kind of really tell those drivers are really pushing the limits and going as fast as they can, because let's just say this, top 5 cars ran personal best laps the last time around.
All right, and we're here now watching Ray Bleth and Andrew Wozencroft and Justin Huffman. Of course, Huffman now falling back to 12th position. He'd been up as high as 5th, trying to make his way back around Wozencroft, I think for the second week in a row, a really great start for him. Wozencroft now, as Huffman gets around him, made up 4 positions on the start. Wayne Buttermore sitting right back behind in 13th position, started 20th today. So he's made up 7 spots just at the start of this race. So good racing by Buttermore. He's got a little bit of ways to go till he gets up to Wozencroft to try and pick up another spot, but good start for the for the number 73 car. All right, let's take a look now as they head down the hill. We've got this 24 car, and that is Sam Tully along with Bryce Evans in the 301. Or probably the 311, not the 301, Avery, and really good close racing there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. These drivers are going pretty much back and forth the last couple laps, just giving good options. You see Raymond, they're going to try to get to the well, that's a combo right there, the 24 and the 89. So he's probably really freaked out right now.
Yeah, team orders, I think, right there. We just saw as the 89 of Huffman gets around Sam Tully there. And yeah, Ray Blethen, who races with those two drivers quite a bit, sitting right back behind them in 20th, or in the number 20 car. Blethen started 15th, so he's made up 4 positions as well. A lot of these drivers starting to make their way back up through the field. Jamison Huffman still to the negative, about 3 spots down from where he started. He is currently sitting 9th, trying to make his way back up.
Yeah, big shout out to Stevie Ray for putting this together. I mean, it's really cool when people that race in a real car, and they can, where it's cold at most places, they can race on the sim. So that's really cool that what this series has brought. But that 71 goes wide, and that was Andrew. He was, from what I understood, he was the mastermind behind the paint scheme.
Yes, yeah, absolutely he was. Now, Andrew just won a pretty big award from the Northeast Division of the SCCA as Worker of the Year. He is he's in college right now, so pretty young. Does a lot of flagging for the New England region of the SCCA, and he also, I believe, has a B-Spec car that he's trying to get together. So we're gonna probably see him out on track racing in real life in probably a year or two, as he tries to get, as college boys try to get their finances together. Can't blame him for wanting to make that money go a little further. And so he's getting a lot of good practice here in iRacing with the Ray eSports League. And so let's take a look here. And we got that battle going on. It's the 311 of Evans and Justin Huffman. Huffman now in the number 89 car, getting around Bryce Evans.
Yeah, great job by Jamison there to get a great passing opportunity. And, knew he had a chance to make the pass. And with these cars, it's a momentum, all about momentum. And he had to make the move there. Otherwise, he might have been sitting behind him for a couple more turns as they go on to the final straightaway here, across start finish line to complete lap number 6.
All right, we jump back to our leaders now as they come down the hill and go through the hairpin, what is affectionately known as Charlotte's Web. We've got Caleb Patry in the number 198 car, Zach Burke in the number 13 car, close behind, and not letting go of our leader as they now make their way through. And again, this race here, our Spec Racer Ford race on the Ray eSports Racing League Spring Tour, brought to you by RaceVoice. You can find out more information about them at www.racevoice.com. They've got a great package for the cars in real life that can actually give you audible cues based on the data from your data acquisition systems, your AIM or Motec systems. And then they also have some setups for iRacing and for sim racing as well. So you definitely want to check those guys out at racevoice.com. Go fast with the speed of voice. As we now have our leader, Caleb Patry, coming onto the front straight to complete lap number 7. And they're coming up on some slower traffic. This may be the opportunity that our second place runner, Zach Burke, is looking for. And you can see now Burke kind of looking to the inside there as they come through turn 2 and start to roll up the hill, come through the carousel and head up towards turn 4. Just a little bit too far back as we get that great exhaust view from Caleb Patry. And now Zach Burke coming up side by side with our leader as they make their way through. That's Charles Vaccaro in the red number 221 car just ahead of them. It looks like it might be go time for Zach Burke. Our two leaders have definitely gone and cleared themselves off of the rest of the field. You can see Miles Crabb there about 25 car lengths back, and Caleb Patry getting all crossed up as they come now through the corkscrew, and now he has lost the game there, and Zach Burke is our new leader as Caleb Patry tries to get things closed back up. Let's take a look and see a replay here as they come now down and set up for the corkscrew, and you can see the rear end of that car step out as Caleb Patry goes through the grass, tries to get things wound back up, spins around and gets right into the side of Zach Burke, but didn't seem to affect Burke all that much as he came on through. But your new leader now, the number 13 of Burke, Patry second, and Miles Crabb in the number 31 car. He's starting to close in on Caleb Patry. We'll have to see if that little impact to the right front of Patry impacts him any, and whether or not he can keep up the speed as they now all cross the stripe to start lap number 9, as we have just a little bit over 7 minutes, or a little bit over 6 minutes to go. Taking a spin there a little bit further back. Was that Greg Mack in the number 2 car that went around Avery?
It looked like it could have been him. A lot of these cars look similar.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah.
Charles.
Yeah, that was the 21 of Vaccaro that went around, I think. Yeah, the 221 car. And Vaccaro currently sitting in 23rd position as he tries to gather things up. But look at this, as our leaders now are making their way down towards the corkscrew once again. Scene of the crime for Caleb Patry. He's closing things back up. Looks a lot cleaner going through there this time by Avery. And he's making up a lot of ground on Zach Burke almost immediately.
Yeah, I don't think he had really much damage there, so it's great for him. But a half-second gap between them. But a half-second gap with these cars is striking distance. As long as you're within a couple car lengths and you got an opportunity, as long as you don't make mistakes like you did last lap, yeah, we'll be okay. But just over 5 minutes to go, and Burke wants to go back-to-back, but Patry's going to do everything he can to make sure that doesn't happen.
All right, as they head up the hill now, coming through turn 15, going into the final turn here of lap number 9 and onto the front straight. You're watching right off the nose of Caleb Patry's number 198 car as he follows Zach Burke now onto the front straight. We start lap number 10. We've got just about 5 minutes left to go, and you can see how close things were there, that Patry was almost 9/10 faster than Zach Burke that last time by. Miles Crabb just a little bit off that time as well. Crabb definitely making up ground. He's still about a second and a half back from Caleb Patry, but now Patry all over the back of our leader Zach Burke as they roll down the hill coming through Charlotte's Web and making their way around. And you can see now, Avery, Zach Burke starting to get a little defensive.
Yeah, with the time, just over 4 minutes to go, it's definitely time to get a little defensive. And oh wow, that's close. That was a 78 of Casey that went around there right in front of our leaders.
And he just went around a second time.
Miles
Crabb, yeah, and the 31 car goes right around our leaders. Let's see if he's going to give up some spots. He does. Justin Clordy gets around him. Greg Mack gets around him as well. So drop Miles Crabb, who had been closing down on our leaders. He's now back in 5th as we watch that replay here as he starts to get back underway. Really unfortunate for the number 31 car. As we now go back to our leaders with 3.5 minutes left to go in this 20-minute race. Miles Crabb, Caleb Patry, as they come through 15. Here we go for the final turn to complete lap number 10. And Caleb Patry, he is just all over the back of our leader, Zach Burke. To say that he's in the draft is, I guess, a bit of an understatement here. Late break on going down into turn 1, and it looked like Patry was going to be a little later than our leader, and he's going for that undercut now, Avery. You can see he's taking a little bit later turn in than our leader Burke at almost every corner.
Yeah, Patry, I've noticed that he's making a little bit different corner entrance and trying something different. I mean, if you're doing the same thing as the guy in front of you, I mean, you might not even catch him a little bit. You gotta try something different. Definitely when you're in striking distance and have a little bit of the toe. So yeah, like you said, Patrick trying different moves, gonna go into the corkscrew here. Just probably gonna just hang out a little bit, see if he's gonna maybe. I'm thinking if he's gonna make a move, would be going into turn number 1, but who am I to say? I'm just a talking head. So.
All right, well there they go as they roll down the hill through the corkscrew. Again, Patrick looking very, very tidy there, and he shows the nose a little bit. As they come up through the S's now, and again, Zach Burke trying to get he's trying to cover those corners, a little bit defensive where he thinks he needs to be. He's trying to anticipate where Caleb Patry's going to make the move, and at this point, I'd be looking. And now as they roll down the hill, coming down into turn 15, they are side by side. Caleb Patry's got position going into 15 as they roll back up to turn 16, and we have a new leader. Caleb Patry, the number 198 machine, is in the lead as they come onto the front straight to round out lap number 11, but Burke, he's not done yet. As they roll down into turn number 1, he has position rolling down the hill, but as quickly as they go down that left-hander, it sets up for a right-hander. Look at that crossover, Avery. That was a great move by the 13 to hold Caleb Patry out. Yeah,
Burke really had to do something there to make a nice move with just over a minute to go. We'll get the white flag this time by for sure. I mean, these cars aren't quite that bad.
Well, we'll have to see it at a minute 40 plus, minute 39, minute 40 for our leaders. We're going to be running pretty close to that 20-minute lap time, so we'll definitely have to watch to see if they can cross the stripe. But that was a great move as Caleb Patry tried to cover coming down through turn 1. Zach Burke did the undercut as they came up the hill as they went from the left-hand turn 1 to the right-hand turn 2. The number 13 car just snuck right underneath Patry, and Patry's going to have to find a way by. And now he goes side by side as they come over towards the tunnel turn, turns 12 and 13. Patry taking the lead from Zach Burke as they now roll up, and now Patry's going to get defensive as they make the right-hander going through turns 14 and 15 as they roll up the hill for the very final turns here. And I think we're going to get the checkered flag, and the checkered flag is being displayed just a little bit under or going a little bit over that 20 minutes. And on the very last lap with 2 turns left to go, Caleb Patry takes the win in Spec Racer Ford from Zach Burke. Avery, oh my gosh, and Justin Clordy now rounds turn 16. He's going to go up the hill. He's going to take the last spot on the podium in Spec Racer Ford tonight with Greg Mack coming in 4th. Miles Crabb, who for so long was sitting in 3rd, he's going to finish just off the podium. He's going to finish 5th, but that was an amazing finish, Avery, with Patry making the move with just 2 corners to go, and seemingly Burke just couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, Burke was given everything he had to try to go back to back here at Barber, and Patry just stayed calm, cool, and collective, and was able to just really just make the right move at the right time and get the win. Congratulations to him, putting on a stellar effort. Started on the pole and didn't dominate this one, but he sure had to battle Zach Burke. Real difficult for
and we were talking about how his first 2 wins, the margin of victory over 2 races was 221 thousandths of a second. I would doubt after 3 wins now that we even get to 3/10. I mean, there you go, 1,500ths of a second or 155 thousandths separating them. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. So less than 4/10 is the margin of victory over 3 races for Caleb Patry. I was hoping, Dennis, is there any way to go back and catch those last couple corners? Or is that a little bit too far back? I'd love to see if we can get a replay of that final battle. And we're seeing if the great Dennis Branch from Apex Racing TV can go back and we can get a replay of those last couple corners here. Here we go, and here it is with Zach Burke in the lead as they come now down through the corkscrew. So this is over by turns 8 and 9. as they make their way up the hill. They're going to head up towards the S's. The uphill S's here, turns 10 and 11 on this 16-turn course. And so at this point, Zach Burke still has the position. And this is about when we see the 198 of Patry peek to the inside. And there he goes, side by side as they come back, heading up towards turn 12 and the tunnel turn at 13. And now watch this, as Patry, he runs a little bit wide, but he manages to maintain that pace and hold Zach Burke off as they come through the last couple corners, through 15 and 16 and onto the front straight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Caleb Patry took the win in Spec Racer Ford tonight. That was absolutely amazing.
Speaking of Caleb Patry, I think we caught up with him, Greg.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull him in here to the announce booth. And there he is. Caleb Patry, congratulations on a very, very hard-fought win tonight.
Thank you, guys.
So tell me, on lap 8, when you had those issues in the corkscrew and Zach Burke got by for that for the very first time, what were you thinking with about I guess about 8 or 9 laps to go?
I was just, after that spin happened, I was just kind of hoping I would get going right away, so Zach wouldn't pull away. Also, so I could stay ahead of third place. But yeah, other than that, it was just keep my head down and try to catch up to Zach, which I did in a few laps. And then we had a, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say we had a pretty good battle there until the race ended, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was an epic last couple of corners there, and and I was real surprised because for up until lap 8, you guys have been running almost identical lap times, had been very, very close. Looks like he had been caught in the draft for quite some time, and then after you had your incident there, it only took you about a lap and a half, 2 laps to get right back up to his gearbox there and really challenge him. So with the 2 laps left to go, what were your thoughts? And did you have a plan after watching him on where on the track you were gonna try and take him, or were you just kind of playing as it went, and were there any tendencies that you saw from him, or were you just waiting for a little bobble from him?
I was kind of waiting for him to make a little mistake, which it looks like in the corkscrew he was getting pretty loose. I felt I could get on the throttle a little earlier and get around on him, but for the majority of the race, it seemed I had a little bit better brakes. So I figured if I could get alongside of him going into at least some corner, I could be able to challenge him under braking, which ended up happening.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Avery and I, we noticed that going into turn 1, for example, you were a little bit later on the brakes than he was, and would usually make up at least a couple feet there, and in a number of places as well. But Caleb, so I'm not real good with math. But as I've been trying to try and figure things out here, I think over 3 races now, the margin of victory is still somewhere less than 0.4 of a second. So you're eking them out, but obviously while you're doing it, you're picking up more and more points here and cementing that lead in Spec Racer Ford. Do you have anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Steve Ray for organizing and setting this all up. Zach Burke for driving a great race, keeping me on my toes all race. Then RaceVoice for sponsoring the broadcast and the series.
All right, well, excellent. Thank you so much. That is Caleb Patry, driver of the number 198 Spec Racer Ford. He is our winner here on the Ray Esports Spring Tour for the 3rd time in a row. So, Caleb, thanks a lot. All right, Avery. So I think that is going to wrap things up for us tonight. Again, we want to thank our 2 great sponsors that brought you both the Mazda MX-5 race and Spec Racer Ford. That is RaceVoice, who sponsored our last race here. You can find out more information about them at www.racevoice.com. And then Driver61, who sponsored our Mazda MX-5 race. You can find out more about them at driver61.com. We're going to be back next week. This time we go back and watching those Greg Racer Fords with the cheesehead hat on there. Great precursor, because next week we're off to Wisconsin. We're off to the Kettle Moraine and the National Park of Speed, Road America, where we will see the Pro Mazdas, who had the week off this week, and then the Mazda MX-5s. And so, Avery, it should be a great battle. Very different course at Road America, all 4 miles and 17 turns compared to what we saw at Barber. So the strategies are definitely going to change. It should be a great time.
Oh, absolutely. Road America, a staple track in obviously America, but it's just a beautiful track from just the scenery. But what that track brings together, some long straightaways, some different types of corners, some elevation change. So these drivers, they did well here at Barber. I'm pretty sure they're going to do pretty well next week at Road America, and I can't wait.
All right, very cool. So for Avery McDonald, for Dennis Branch, who's been bringing us all those great visuals tonight from Apex Racing TV, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Tuesday at 8:40 p.m. Thanks, and have a great evening.